Yang Lanlan hires Australia's top lawyer. Will it be enough to set her free? We begin today's report with the latest updates on the serious car crash case involving Yang Lanlan. On September 26th, the case of Yang Lanlan returned for its second mention at Sydney's Downing Centre Local Court, located in John Maddison Tower. Once again, Yang was nowhere to be seen. This time, however, the judge drew a line in the sand. At the next hearing, set for October 17th, Yang must appear in person. That date is expected to mark the beginning of formal pleas or a committal hearing. Although the defendant herself was absent, her lead defense lawyer did step into court, and it was a name that immediately raised eyebrows. Representing Yang is none other than John Corn, one of Australia's most formidable criminal barristers. With more than 4 decades in the courtroom, Corn has been ranked among Sydney's elite defense lawyers and consistently listed as one of the most influential legal figures across Australia and New Zealand. That prestige doesn't come cheap. Senior barristers of Corn's stature typically charge between AUD 1,000 and 500 per hour, or as much as 7,000 to 10,000 for a single day in court. For a high-profile case like Yang's, a retainer of around odd 50,000 is standard, just to cover the initial phase, with total costs expected to climb anywhere from odd 300,000 to 500,000, roughly $323,000, depending on how long the trial drags on. Corn's reputation isn't built on billing rates alone. He is best remembered for his headline-grabbing defense of Chinese actor Gao Yunxiang, who in 2017 was accused in Sydney of aggravated serious indecent assault and joint serious indecent assault. I have to use this wording because YouTube will demonetize our video if I use the original term. At the time, those charges ranked among the gravest in Australian criminal law, carrying the possibility of life imprisonment. According to commentator Zhen Fei from channel True Viewpoint, Corn's strategy in that case proved decisive. He immediately filed for a committal hearing, the preliminary step in which a magistrate decides whether the prosecution's evidence is solid enough to justify escalation to a higher court. What set Corn apart was his insistence that the complainant appear for live cross-examination at this early stage, something prosecutors typically avoid to shield complainants by submitting written statements until trial. Forcing testimony so soon created immense pressure. The move achieved 2 outcomes simultaneously. First, it placed psychological strain on the complainant. Victims in such cases are often emotionally fragile, and facing rigorous questioning early on can trigger stress, memory lapses, or contradictions. Second, it exposed the prosecution's evidentiary weaknesses. With no DNA, no medical evidence, and no clear surveillance footage to rely on, the case rested almost entirely on oral testimony. Any inconsistency, whether about how much alcohol was consumed, how clearly events were remembered, or whether witness accounts lined up, threatened to undermine credibility. Corn exploited exactly that. Under his questioning, discrepancies quickly emerged, highlighting the fragility of the prosecution's case. With the evidence no longer looking airtight, the defense successfully argued that it did not meet the threshold of reliability. Under pressure, prosecutors were forced to back down. The 2 most serious charges were reduced to 7 lesser counts, and by 2019, the jury could not reach a unanimous guilty verdict. Gao Yunxiang walked free. The Gao case demonstrated John Corn's tactical ability to exploit evidentiary gaps and force prosecutors into retreat. Turning back to the case of Yang Lanlan, the question is whether Corn's strategy can work again. The answer may well be no. Because Yang's situation is supported by objective evidence, surveillance footage, vehicle damage reports, and related forensic findings. This makes outright acquittal far less likely. Instead, according to commentator Zhen Fei, defense efforts are expected to focus on mitigation, arguing that Yang was negligent rather than intentionally intoxicated, or that her refusal of the breath test stemmed from panic rather than deliberate obstruction. Her lawyers may also challenge the clarity of surveillance footage, dispute whether he was truly driving on the wrong side of the road, and question whether police fully respected due process when arresting her. All of this may ultimately be aimed at reducing Yang Lanlan's sentence. New twist emerges. Charge downgraded. However, a significant development has emerged. Yang's original 4 charges included conduct causing bodily harm, refusal or failure to cooperate with a breath test, dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm, and failure to provide details to police. According to the Daily Mail, at the September 26th hearing, prosecutors added a 5th count, negligent driving causing grievous bodily harm, filed as an alternative to the dangerous driving charge. This distinction matters. Under New South Wales law, dangerous driving causing grievous bodily harm carries a maximum penalty of 7 years imprisonment or more, while negligent driving causing grievous bodily harm carries a far lighter sentence, only 9 to 12 months, depending on prior offenses. Legal observers suggest this move reflects prosecutorial caution. Much like in the case of Chinese actor Gao Yunxiang, where charges were strategically downgraded, prosecutors here may already be preparing a fallback option in case their evidence fails to support the harsher charge. With the October 17 hearing approaching, the Yan case is heading into a decisive stage. The defense will finally reveal its plea strategy, while the prosecution's readiness to downgrade charges suggests that the real battle may focus less on outright acquittal and more on the severity of sentencing. Compounding this, the court has ordered Yang to appear in person. The outcome could be explosive. In short, the presence of John Corn underscores that Yang is putting effort for a serious, resource-intensive defense. Hiring one of Australia's most expensive and seasoned barristers signals determination to fight this case at the highest level. Whether the Australian justice system can balance fairness, transparency, and public scrutiny will be a question worth watching closely. Meanwhile, the death of 37-year-old Chinese actor Yu Menglong continues to snowball, with public anger fueled by mounting evidence and suspicions that he was brutalized by powerful figures in the entertainment industry and elites within the Chinese Communist Party. Taiwan's top star manager, Yu Menglong, cried for 5 hours in his dream. At 5:39 a.m. on September 28th, Yu Menglong's mentor and veteran entertainer son DERONG posted on Facebook, "Yesterday, in my dream, Yu Menglong gave me a 5-hour movie to watch, explaining many things that had been misunderstood or never actually happened. He died in a tragic and helpless way. I need to reflect on how I should best respond." Later that day, Sun shared another post. "From the early morning, Yu Menglong came into my dream, just as pure, just as kind as before, but his grief-stricken face told me that he felt deeply wronged. His only worry was whether his mother could endure. In great detail, he told me many things." As Yu Menglong's very first teacher, Sun confessed feelings of guilt. "If I hadn't trained him for a year and a half, if I hadn't let him enter show business, would he be happier now?" Sun added that he would burn incense for Yu at the Daizang King Bodhisattva Temple in Xinzhuang the following evening. He said, "I'll burn plenty of spirit money so he won't have to worry about finances anymore," hinting that Yu had struggled financially before his death. Sun also revealed plans to return to Beijing, gather the 8 trainees he once coached to recite scriptures for Yu Menglong, and vowed to issue a public, non-taking-own-life statement, along with his full itinerary. But many Facebook users urged him not to go, warning that it would be too dangerous. One user echoed the concern, saying that even state media was covering up the case and that this was no ordinary clash of money or power. They advised that if Sun truly had evidence, he should hand it to a third party to continue exposing the truth. Then another suggested that Sun should instead chant scriptures and dedicate the merit in Taiwan, rather than traveling to Beijing. Sun DERONG eventually took this advice to heart and issued his latest announcement, the Sun DERONG Emergency Press Conference Notice, with the subject of holding a ritual ceremony for the repose of Mr. Yu Menglong's soul alongside a press conference to pursue the truth. The ceremony and briefing were scheduled for 4:30 p.m. on September 29, Taiwan time, at the Dezong King Bodhisattva Temple in Xinzhuang. In his announcement, Sun expressed his hope that through these efforts, they could help bring Menglong's soul back to peace and comfort his spirit in heaven. And he sincerely invited all media friends to attend and cover the event. The Great Erasure. Inside China's harshest online censorship in the Yu Menglong case. Yu Menglong's death unleashed the most sweeping and unforgiving censorship campaign China has seen since the COVID-19 pandemic. The instant posts appeared hinting that he had been forced or assaulted. They vanished, scrubbed from Xiaohongshu, Douyin, Weibo, and forums alike. In less than 10 days, over 100 million comments were erased. It was a blackout stretching across the entire Chinese internet. Commentator Wen Jiabao noted that a campaign of this magnitude could only come from the very peak of China's propaganda machine. Only the top leadership has the reach to marshal police, broadcasters, and internet platforms into enforcing such a blanket silence. The institution with that power is the Central Cyberspace Affairs Commission, whose office, the Central Cyberspace Administration, serves as its permanent arm. Xi Jinping chairs it, while Politburo Standing Committee member Kai Chi, tasked with propaganda, ideology, and internet control, acts as the deputy in charge of daily operations. A March 2025 report by the U.S. Open Technology Fund revealed just how far this system has gone. Since its creation in 2014, China's cyberspace regulator has imposed the same level of control as state-run media. From 2015 to 2022, 1.73 million censors were added. Contractors hired not by the government directly but by platforms pressured to police themselves. If sensitive content slipped through, platforms risked fines, penalties, or worse. However, AI alone can't keep up. Automated filters remain crude, while netizens have evolved a rich culture of coded language to slip past detection. Homophones, puns, and sarcasm AI cannot catch. During the Yu Menglong uproar, some simply wrote red USB or flash drive. Everyone knew what it meant, the rumored device holding evidence of money laundering tied to a powerful figure. That's why the work still falls on human moderators. Whistleblowers who once worked in China's censorship bureaus have testified that comments must be reviewed one by one. When traffic surges, platforms buckle under the pressure, operating 4 shifts around the clock. At night, when staff are thin, delays mount. Yet the relentless tide of posts shows that determined voices can still poke holes through the digital firewall. These were not just deleted posts or suspended accounts, they were battles. Costly, grinding battles fought without bullets. Moderators burned through endless overtime, while armies of pro-government commentators were mobilized from students, civil servants, and even prisoners. In the storm surrounding Yu Menglong, millions of personnel were deployed in a coordinated stability maintenance operation. Such force isn't mobilized for nothing. The leadership's determination to bury the story suggests the stakes were far higher than the public could see. That's why whispers linking producer Xin Qi to senior leader Kai Chi as an illegitimate son gained traction. They fit the scale of the cover-up. The ferocity of Beijing's response outstripped scandals that once shook the nation. The Shaolin abbot Shi Yongshin's disgrace, or even the infamous chained woman case of 2022. Clearly, Yu Menglong's death rattled nerves at the very top of the party. On September 21, 10 long days later, Beijing's Chaoyang police finally issued a bulletin. It stated that Yu Menglong had died from an accidental fall after drinking, ruled out criminal involvement, and noted that his family had raised no objections. The bulletin went out of its way to highlight another point. 3 women had been detained for fabricating rumors. The notice closed with a stern warning to the public: do not believe or spread rumors. But by then, the damage was done. Billions of work hours had been poured into censorship. Netizens probed for loopholes, only to be blocked again and again. After weeks of digital trench warfare, the wave of voices pressing against the system's tower was finally dammed, for now. The bulletin, when it finally arrived, chilled everyone still searching for answers. Everyone understood what it meant. As long as the Chinese Communist Party holds this kind of power, the truth will never see the light of day. As commentator Wen Jiabao concluded, Yu Menglong is gone, and even with more than 20 million fans and countless voices demanding justice, his voice was silenced. Against such power, he was small. He was not the first, and he will not be the last. But while the case has been silenced inside China, it refuses to die abroad. After international coverage by the BBC, Today Australia, and Singapore Straits Times, a stunning twist emerged. Hackers have now stepped into the fight. According to NTD-TV, a hacker collective claims to have seized files on the killer and launched what they call a truth archive. Their mission is staggering, uploading 20 billion yuan in money laundering contracts and audio confessions to the dark web, translating them into 56 languages, and unleashing them worldwide at the same moment. Their vow: to rip the cover off the conspiracy. The information war over Yu Menglong's death has gone global. This is no longer just a fight for public opinion. It is a confrontation between good and evil, truth and cover-up. Now, the storm Yu Menglong left behind in the mainland is Kai Chi caught in a trap, Wen Jiabao's fury. History will not forgive this. Regarding the Yu Menglong case, on September 19th, commentator Zhang Feng argued that this was no accident, but a trap meticulously set in advance. From the beginning, he said, someone had deliberately constructed a snare aimed squarely at Kai Chi. Why? Because Kai Chi's sons had long been immersed in depraved parties, something that was no secret within their circle. Political rivals had been holding that leverage for years, waiting patiently for the right moment to unleash it. The proof came with torrents of video footage that appeared online, much of it shot with long lenses and directional microphones, or even pinhole devices inside the apartment itself. The brutality was raw, real, and impossible to dismiss as AI fakery, showing that Kai Chi's son and his circle had been under professional surveillance for some time. All signs pointed to a story scripted long before, waiting for Kai Chi to fall into the snare. Another commentator, One Leaf Knows Autumn, argued that if these revelations are true, then this was not merely a scandal consuming a celebrity or a single official. It was a fire reaching Xi Jinping's inner circle, burning into the very heart of China's leadership compound. According to the People's Paper, citing leaked information, former Chinese Premier Wen Jiabao, upon learning of the incident, angrily declared, forcing the entire Chinese people into silence. This is a path to hell, and history will hold it to account. Meanwhile, Hu Chenfeng, a well-known Chinese content creator who was banned during the blackout campaign, reportedly fled to Hong Kong. There, he announced that he was releasing all rights to his videos for public and commercial use, inviting the world to see what Beijing had tried to erase. Observers say the CCP no longer has the ability to deceive China's younger generation in the internet era. And with every backward step the party takes, its eventual downfall will only look uglier. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. If you found this analysis valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.